I always hated the door in the basement. It was old, rusty, and had a padlock on it. My parents told me to never go near it, and I obeyed them. They said it was dangerous, and that there were things behind it that I wouldn't want to see. But curiosity got the better of me one day when they were out shopping. I sneaked into the basement, armed with a flashlight and a pair of pliers. I found the door and tried to pry open the padlock. It took me a few minutes, but I managed to break it. I felt a surge of excitement mixed with fear. What was behind the door? I opened it slowly and peered inside. It was dark and smelled like rot. I turned on my flashlight and gasped. There were bodies, lots of them. Some were fresh, some were decomposed. Some were mutilated, some were intact. Some were human, some were animal. Some were familiar, some were strangers. I recognized some of them. They were the missing people from the news. The ones who had disappeared without a trace. The ones who had been searched for, but never found. The ones who had been mourned, but never buried. And then, I saw them. My parents. They were lying on a table, covered in blood. They had been cut open, and their organs were exposed. They had wires attached to their heads and electrodes on their chests. They had tubes in their mouths and needles in their veins. They had monitors on their sides and machines on their backs. They were alive. They looked at me with horror and pain in their eyes. They tried to scream, but no sound came out. They tried to move, but they were paralyzed. They tried to beg, but I couldn't understand them. They were experiments. I dropped the flashlight and ran. I ran out of the basement, out of the house, out of the street. I ran until I couldn't breathe, until I couldn't think, until I couldn't feel. I ran until I found a police station and told them everything. I told them about the basement, the door, the bodies, the machines, the parents. I told them to hurry, to save them, to stop them. But they didn't believe me. They said I was crazy, that I was hallucinating, that I was lying. They said there was no basement, no door, no house. They said there were no parents, no experiments, no evidence. They said I was an orphan. They said I had been living in a mental institution for the past 10 years. And I escaped and wandered into the city. They said I had a history of delusions and violence. They said I had killed my parents when I was 7 years old. They said I was the monster